Duperos y duperas, today on Dupe by the River, we have finally concluded the World Cup, and congratulations to Argentina. We're going to talk about it and our thoughts over that. The MLS finally has released the schedule. We're going to look at the schedule. Where's the panel going to be going? Where are you going to be going? More importantly, the MLS also has announced possibly a new playoff format that we're not really excited about, and super draft time, favorite time for Union fans. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Dupe by the River. And let's get it started, guys. Done.
Dupe by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Dupe by the River, this show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Dupe by the River, real quick, welcome, everyone. It's about 2 weeks now. It's the off-season, but we want to thank everyone for tuning on. We are live on episode of Philly's YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for your future viewings of Dupe by the River. We are available wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under Dupe by the River Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you today, my experts in duping. First off, my man, Mr. Tim Lovinguth. What's up, Tim? How you feeling, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a while, Yeah, I think my last pod with you guys was even before MLS Cup. We don't really need to go way back in time there, but no, it's been good. This the World Cup kind of helped me reset. Because I'm not going to lie, after MLS Cup, I was like, I might be done with soccer for a minute or two here because that was pain. But no, the World Cup was a lot of fun. I was writing on it for almost every day, so it was a good time. And now I'm ready to talk some Union. We got the schedule, we got a lot of other things with MLS and the craziness that is MLS. So I'm excited to talk with you guys about it.
It is always great to have you back on, Tim, and it's been a while. And Tim, it feels like you're recording live from the new Union Wall of Fame here. We love this new look here behind you, man. Hey, show us a little bit of what you got going on there, brother.
I mean, yeah. So I had these jerseys, these signed jerseys. I needed to find some good frames for them. Found a few online here, so I was like, I need to find a way to put them on a wall. I figured, why not? Share it with the world here. So yeah, of course, we got the top three up there. We got Sebastian Letou, the OG Andre Blake when he was wearing number 1. Love that.
I just realized that.
Yeah. And then we got Ali Bedoya from the USMNT. Ali Bedoya, right around the time when he signed with the Union, and of course Aurelien Collin on one side and Captain Mo Adu on the other, which is a fun time. And then behind me, we got Ray Gaddis.
Hey, you got to show some love to Ray, man.
But he went to Cincy, so he doesn't get to be seen on the podcast. So that's it.
When you retire, Ray, for real this time, we'll put you bright.
Maybe we'll move you to the side so people can see you a little more.
And of course, Aurelien Collin is the Lovinguth's favorite player. That's
yeah.
For sure.
You can't really see it if you're watching it on YouTube, but
yes.
On the one signature over there, there's 2 hearts because it's Courtney's jersey. So he put 2 hearts on the jersey. So it was a good time.
What a class act, Collin, man! Awesome stuff, brother. Tim, it's always great seeing you. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our man, Justin North Pole account in Freiburg. Justin, what's up, baby? How you feeling, man?
Tis the season. It's
season, brother.
After that game that we don't talk about, it does too. I needed a bit of a refresh, a little bit of a break. The World Cup was a nice distraction. Having 4 games a day at some points was awesome. Having USA England on Black Friday was wonderful.
Yeah, man.
And now World Cup's over. The whole GOAT debate is over. We can close that up and pack that one away. We got the Premier League and most of these come back next week. So it's when one soccer door closes, another one kicks its way through.
It's a sport that truly never ends, Justin. It really
Keeps
never
on giving. Yeah, 'tis the season.
Always. It's funny you both mentioned the MLS Cup final because I literally before this, me and my girlfriend went out to dinner, and she brings up the World Cup final and how it ended in a penalty kick. She's like, it was like the MLS Cup final, right, babe? And I'm like, you really got to bring this up right now. I'm enjoying my food. I'm just kidding.
1,000 yard stare, PTSD. I remember that day.
It's all in fun. It is all in fun. But well, first off, finally Conte, welcome on in, brother. Appreciate you coming in here. Got a Halan jersey for Hanukkah. Dude, that is sick, man. That is sick, dude. That's a great get right there, man. Shouts to our brothers and sisters celebrating Hanukkah, man. We got Conte getting his Halan
Now
jersey.
it would be a real shout if it was the Norway national team. I'm just
I was
saying
gonna
that would
ask.
Cool.
that'd be a real shout.
I'm sure it's Man City though, right? I mean,
Oh,
well,
I'm
Conte
sure.
could tell us, but
It's probably Man City. Yeah.
that'd be pretty sick though. That would be pretty sick. Well, gentlemen, let's talk about that World Cup. You know, I do want to start off by saying something. Like, I'll be honest, you guys know I love the sport. Like, the sport is obviously amazing. I haven't been the same about this tournament since the Grant Wall passing. You know, I know you, Tim. Like, dude, you're a great writer, and I'm sure Grant Wall has inspired you one way or the other. And for me, when that news dropped, I remember that Friday. I got done watching the Sixers and the Warriors, and I get the news, and I'm thinking like, wait, what? And obviously, I didn't want to go towards the conspiracy theories, but it was definitely like a little. It broke my heart a little bit, and it was a little bit tough to kind of watch the rest of the tournament there. But you know, overall, despite some of the off the field stuff, and you know, we could talk about before that as well, before the tournament started, but the soccer was really good. Despite that, I mean, obviously the situations definitely did suck, but Tim, you know, for you, you know, kind of your thoughts as the World Cup has finally ended, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, just to your comments about Grant Wall. I mean, I remember, like 12 years ago, right before the South Africa World Cup. Like I was in high school, and I got the Sports Illustrated magazines, and I'm like I can't find them anywhere. I was trying to find them, but I know he wrote something in there that got me like hooked on the World Cup, and it helped too that year was the U.S. going through it and kind of struggling, not really playing good soccer. But then Landon Donovan scored that goal against Algeria, and then I was hooked for good. But I remember the whole reason I wanted to tune in was because I read the Sports Illustrated previews. And I just loved the way that it was kind of all set up. And I'm kicking myself that I can't find the magazine, but I know that Grant worked on that in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, it was a hard time that night. I remember just kind of like looking at Twitter and just being like doom scrolling. Like, is this real?
There's no way. There's no way.
I saw him tweeting at that game that he was at, the Argentina Netherlands game. It was just kind of it was surreal for sure. The soccer on the pitch was fantastic, especially in that final. I mean, you can't wait. Like I know here in America, like we had the Fox coverage, so it's like they kept hyping up, oh, Messi versus Mbappe, and everyone who actually watches soccer is like, there's no way it's just going to be a back and forth between those two guys. Like the teams are different. Like they're going to set up in different ways. It's going to look different. And for the most part, it was, but then it was actually Messi versus Mbappe for that match. And I mean, it was crazy. It was almost like that MLS Cup final that we don't want to talk about because of the different comebacks and scrappy goals and penalty kicks and all that. But yeah, no, the play on the field was crazy. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to write about. And yeah, it is kind of hard to think about it all about Grant too. So.
It'll definitely hit once the MLS season starts and you don't have Grant with some of those great tweets that he always would bring on. But Justin, any thoughts over the World Cup in general? Now that it has finally concluded.
I've tried to separate the on the field and the off the field stuff. Unfortunately, the lines have blurred to the point where, despite the great product on the field, that this World Cup does feel kind of tainted to me for a number of reasons. Like I said, on the field side, it was an amazing World Cup. I mean, this was the most chaotic I've ever seen. Results, coming out of the wazoo, upsets. It was exactly what you could ask for. People who didn't know the sport were asking me if this is normal.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, like you can predict all you want. And I had predictions and, the brackets got, shot to hell. And I was like, I don't care. This is fun. And it was just bonkers. You had so many feel good stories with Japan, South Korea, Morocco, Croatia. I mean, Croatia, people forgetting that, the Ballon d'Or winner, Luka Modric, at the same age as Cristiano Ronaldo, is quietly leading his side and probably his last World Cup to a second straight top 3 performance. You have Morocco, a team full of players, a lot of them born in Spain and other countries that are of Moroccan descent, coming together. Only the third non-UEFA or CONMEBOL semifinalist ever. The other two were the United States in 1930 and South Korea in 2002. So
Justin with the facts. I love
that shows an insane amount of history that was made. You have players, competing in their 4th straight World Cup, players scoring in 4 or 5 straight World Cup. Like there was so much history made in this World Cup. It was something on display. It showed, that why soccer is the world's game. Played in for the first time in the Middle East. It had had an African side in the semifinals. You had, there was so much, chaos that was brought into this. And you had the theatrics of Emi Martinez and Lionel Messi pulling, no holds bars. You're doing his best, just I don't give a fuck, as our Paulo Cooligans would say. Messi was a bit gully because the man just did not give a shit. Calling Wout Weghorst Bobo, and just like he just did not care, and going up to Louis van Gaal and doing the like come on, like Messi. This was Messi's tournament.
It was.
It was just everything that led up to this. And again, listen, as a goalie, I gotta appreciate Emi Martinez's.
He was great, dude. Great entertainment, man.
Shithousery, like it,
Yeah.
it crossed the line of like people are like, is this normal? I'm like, well, speaking as a goalie, you kind of you gotta have a few screws
A few.
loose, and I was like, yeah, like it was something. And I remember, like for the World Cup final, I was at Zed's,
Nice.
Owners Jeff and Laurie were like, I was there Saturday night, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll be open at 9:45, and guess who the first person was at 9:45, walking right in and helping set up. Like
Justin, we love you, man.
And being there through the first half of the Eagles game, and like just getting lost in track of time with soccer, like it's so much stuff that like this World Cup kind of, I think, on the heels of one of the best MLS Cup finals in recent memory. Just like, as much as we complained about it being in the winter, this absolutely built on. And the Premier League's coming back. We have the MLS season coming back soon. The 2023 Women's World Cup is this summer. Like it, and then you hit the 2024, Euros. Like you just keep hitting everything, and it just is keep building and building, and before you know it, we'll be at the 2026 World Cup. Like it's just been so crazy this past month or so, just to see how so many people I know that are not soccer fans or casual soccer fans genuinely get into the sport like even my girlfriend, her first Union game was the Eastern Conference Final,
That was fun.
and
That was fun.
she was watching the World Cup games, and she's like, and I was sending her the schedule, and she's talking about going on some of the away trips and all this, and really she was like, oh, I want to go back and the soccer more, and I'm like, it's just like people genuinely who may not have had a huge interest in soccer are now looking and going, I want more of this. Where can I find it? And then realizing, oh, we have one right in our own backyard.
You don't have to just go to YouTube anymore, man. It's on your TV now, Justin. It's crazy. It's crazy. Tim, real quick. So at 4 p.m. on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time, who was more drunk, Justin or Quinn?
I mean, why not both? It might have been equal. I don't know.
Maybe both.
Well, I wasn't drunk enough. Trust me, I was plenty sober enough. The Eagles sober you up.
That's good. That's a fact, to say the least. But guys, listen. I think we need to show some love and some respect to first off our brother Kevin Shaw, and their Argentina. For myself, as a Colombian soccer fan, like, I did see on Twitter, a lot of Colombian fans like, why would you root for Argentina? And I'm like thinking to myself, like, why wouldn't you root for Messi? I mean, this is like the best player of our time. And honestly, guys, like watching Messi lift that trophy with that huge smile on his face, like he looked like a kid up there. And like that brought joy to me. Like I think all of us soccer fans, especially like our generation here on this podcast, we've been waiting for Messi to hoist this trophy. Like he's won La Liga, he's won Champions League, but like the World Cup is the one thing that has hindered him, and he got that over Ronaldo, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The debate is over.
Yeah, like the debate is clearly over at this point. Like they have each won basically everything in the leagues they've played in that you can win, and now it's listen, it's at the end of the day, Messi's got the World Cup and Ronaldo's crying at the Real Madrid training facility.
Where's he going to play? Or when he on this in 2023, where's he going to play?
I don't know.
FIFA.
I mean, if Messi's not coming to Miami now, I'm sure Ronaldo's going to try. If he heard that was the move,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
guys,
now that
MLS side, why would you take a chance on Ronaldo?
I mean,
I would not.
Now that he's allowed in the country.
Oh,
Is he really not allowed because of the charges?
Yeah, we'll see. See how that goes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like the U.S. would definitely be like, "Hey, Ronaldo, you get this visa. You come and play. You come and work here." So Messi to MLS. This is next, right, guys? This is what we've been told. This is what will be next.
That was all before the World Cup and before he won it. And now he's like, I want to go back to Barca. I want to.
You think you want to go back?
That's kind of what I've been hearing is staying in Europe. It's everything I've heard since the World Cup.
Now, if he actually does choose MLS, though, he has to do it before June 24th because June 24th is when Miami comes to Chester, and that's
when a bunch of Union fans sell their tickets for like 10 times the face value.
We're gonna give Messi the Higuain treatment. But
you know what, Tim? It's gonna be so annoying because obviously the River's End like will be all blue and golded up, but then you'll see like on your left a bunch of Barcelona jerseys, on your right a bunch of Argentina jerseys. It's gonna
be the same thing when Ibra came to town.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that, but I remember when Galaxy came. I think like in 2017, 2018. Gio Dos Santos came in. Guys, that was like my first experience where like there were so many Mexican fans.
Well, you remember when Nectar Herrera came to town?
Yes,
they were getting sagged, and you remember the kid like 2 rows in front of us was.
I remember that. He had a sign. He had a Union jersey on, but he had like a Mexican national team sign. He wanted Hector Herrera's jersey.
And it just showed like. Depending on the superstar, it'll bring out people.
Absolutely, man. How about parade today though? Like, shut it down, dude.
Yeah,
that's freaking crazy. What's up, Brian? What's going on, man? Appreciate you coming in here. Revenge time in September, and they're coming to Philly. I don't. What are we talking about in September? What's in September? Well, I guess we'll look at the schedule.
LAFC come in September.
Brian, you had the scheme. We'll look at that in just 1 second, Brian. Very excited. Man City got a Man City jersey. Okay, listen, that's still a good kid, man. Still a good kid, Conte. I don't think the Union will be undefeated at home this year.
Yeah,
it's too early to tell for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say too early. But the way that the Eastern Conference has been shaping out, I don't think it's crazy. Like, it's gonna be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, and not to go on a tangent on that. Not to go on a tangent on that, Justin, but it also will depend on how far the Union go in the other competitions, because there's going to be
it's a big factor.
There's Open Cup. There's the Leagues Cup is this year. There's a lot of other stuff going on.
Just put the kids in.
The Union could play close to 50 games or 50 plus games this year if they go far in all these other tournaments, which is crazy to think of, but it could happen.
If I may, let's please formally welcome Mike Thomas. What's up, Mike? No Cascadia, no Minnesota, no Austin. Dude, I'm bummed out too.
Yeah,
I was looking for Utah. I RSL. I didn't think it would happen, but I was looking, and
that would be a fun trip. I would go with you.
The outside of the trips I was talking, Colorado was a maybe, but I don't know. That's about it.
Well, let's pull it up, guys. I have the schedule right here. So today was released the Union, the MLS schedules in general, but here is the Unions. I know it's a little bit small here if you are watching it live here on YouTube, but I will round it out here. So you start off the season at home with Columbus. It's gonna be a cold night in February, Saturday night as well. Then you're on the road with Miami on March 4th at 7:30. Back at home on March 11th for Chicago. March 18th, you're on the road for Montreal. Orlando, March 25th at home. And that is your March month right there, guys. April 1st, SKC. Can't wait to talk to Ken Vicho about that one. That'll be a home game, followed by 2 road games, April 8th, April 15th, Cincinnati and Chicago. You got back at home against Toronto FC on April 22nd. That is April. May, you start off with 2 road games, and the New York Red Bull and Colorado, as Justin alluded to. Then you're back at home for 2 straight against DC on May 17th and the Revolution on May 20th. Back on the road on May 27th to New York against NYCFC. And then you end the month at home against Charlotte FC. In June, you got Montreal at home. Then you're on the road for 2 straight. San Jose, we'll see where that game will be played on June 10th. And then in Orlando for June 21st. You got a game at home on June 24th against Miami. Then a tough stretch here for July to start off. July 2nd, Atlanta. July 8th, the Galaxy. July 12th, Nashville, all the way. July 15th, at home against NYCFC, followed by August 20th to start off the month against FC Dallas, followed by 2 straight away against DC on August 26th. August 30th, you're in Toronto. And then you're back at home for 2 straight. September 3rd, to start that month against the Red Bull, and then against FC Cincinnati. On the road on September 20th against Charlotte, another late season one in Charlotte. Then, as Brian alluded to, September 23rd, the big one, LAFC comes to Chester. Can't wait for that one. September 30th on the road to Columbus. October 4th and October 7th back at home against 2 South teams. Atlanta on the 4th, Nashville on the 7th. You end the season on the road against New England Revolution on October 21st. Gentlemen, that is our schedule. Justin, start off with you, man. What kind of attracts you with the schedule? What games are you circling here, my man? What do you like about the schedule?
I do find it interesting that there are some solid stretches of. There's some stretches that I would say are probably a little easier, and some stretches that are a bit tougher. I say to start the season, I think you have. I mean, we don't know what the status of of Miami will be. Obviously, they're still rebuilding off of a solid season. Chicago is pretty desperate. Columbus to start the season, who knows? I mean, I don't think. Who knows if Wilfred Nancy's going to have enough time to really get things together. But that game, March 18th against Montreal, has been ripped to shreds with their roster. Like everyone, MLSsoccer.com basically said they need everything. Like you've lost so many of your key pieces. They may be one of the teams that falls hard this season. So I'll be interested to see how they start the season. And then the big stretch, as you alluded to, in the summer with Atlanta, LA, and Nashville, and NYCFC in a 4-game stretch, 3 of those on the road. That's going to be a big test in the summer. And that is right before the month break for the Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
So that's going to be by this point, who knows? Who knows how long the Union have made the run in CCL or US Open Cup. Like, and that's why I said depth's going to be tested. Outside of that, I don't think there's too many super, super tough stretches. I think it's kind of pretty balanced in the season. I know, obviously, we said I'm absolutely circling the LAFC game on my calendar. The team's gonna want a bit of revenge after the way that game ended. Now for my away trips, I know we talked about away trips. Right now, the 4 I absolutely have circled are
4.
Well, 2 of them are bus/drive trips. You have
Okay.
the Red Bull on May 6th, which, of course, I love that it's a Saturday, so we can go visit our buddy Matt.
Hey now.
The next game would probably be the Atlanta game, July 2nd. Yeah, right around the holiday. It's a nice little trip. DC on August 26th. I haven't actually been to Audi Field, so I'll be interested to try that out. And going to Columbus in September. I have a few friends out there. I've been promising for a few years now that I'd come back out, and it's where the stadium is nice. It's right near the Arena District. There's a lot of nice bars and restaurants in that area. It's a nice spot to be over by. Those are my 4 definite. Now, I've been debating a few toss-ups, some other ones, but as of right now, those are the 4 that I have circled on my list.
Okay. We got to play at Citi Field for the first time this year, from according to Mike Thomas here. A little trip to Queens. Should be very, very interesting to say the least. Timmy boy, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on the schedule?
My early takeaways. Everything has been kind of structured in my thought process about this year, looking at all of the different competitions that the Union are going to be in. So those areas of the schedule stood out to me at first. I think Mike pointed it out to just a minute ago in one of the comments that we go to Miami right before we go to our CCL away game. So that's kind of on the way, which is nice there. That works out. The big one was the road trip in July, or the way that July starts. Those 3 away at Atlanta, at LA, at Nashville. Then you come home to NYC, and then you have to go right into the Leagues Cup play. Every team in MLS, if I'm not mistaken, is guaranteed 2 Leagues Cup games.
I think so, yeah.
So that's going to be a make or break point of the season, whether or not the Union go far in CCL or not. That beginning stretch, that almost a little bit more than halfway of the season, and then that July stretch is going to determine a lot of what the regular season looks like. And then, of course, you have Open Cup in there somewhere too, probably in end of May, early June. And God, I hope they can go on a run in Open Cup. I love Open Cup. I get so mad when the team doesn't do well in Open Cup. It hurts.
I wait for you to be disappointed again, because that competition is going to be low on the list.
I know, but can I just tell, going back to that 2022 game against Orlando, they could have won that game, and that route to a trophy in 2022 was the easiest route. They would have had to play a second division team if the cards were flipped. But it is what it is. But no, that's what I look at. All those different ways of or places where there will be other games kind of inserted to the schedule makes this schedule for me. I think it's still really too early to tell. Like, oh, do I think they're going to get a win? The opening day against Columbus. I have no idea how Columbus is going to look under Natsay right now. Like, I know that they have good players coming back and they have a really good coach now in Nansei, but I don't know what they're going to look like. Like, that kind of stuff, I can't like go into the individual matchups. Of course, like Justin said, though, I'm circling that LAFC match. I can't wait to be in Subaru Park for that one. Being in Subaru Park for MLS Cup with a bunch of Union fans watching on a big screen where we were watching penalty kicks, and we watched the last LAFC kick go in, and then the screen just shut off to black. And it was the most surreal thing I've ever seen in my life. They were blasting the sound through the speakers in Subaru Park, and then I think it was Ilie who hit that penalty for LAFC. It went in, and then they just turned the screen off and they turned the sound off, and you couldn't hear anything because everyone was silent. Like, I cannot wait to see a packed Subaru Park of Union fans ready to just devour LAFC. Like, I can't wait for that. That's the only matchup that I'm like legit ready for to see that.
There's be a lot of emotions during that game, Sam. It's going to be pretty wound up there. I want to welcome Jimmy into the chat here. What's up, Jimmy? It's good seeing you in here, man. Excited for the season. Team is going to need some fans traveling in July. That away stretch. I think I'll try to make that Nashville myself. Jimmy,
there you
definitely
go.
recommend it, man. Nashville is definitely a fun time. Obviously, we got Justin. Hopefully, he can make the July 2nd one for Atlanta. We'll have some fans for that one. But no, definitely Nashville. Definitely recommend it. And I would love to check out Geodis Park as well, man. Looked great last year.
Recommend. I was there last year for the first ever home game.
That good?
It's a fun time. It's definitely a fun time.
For sure, man. Mike, 7:30 kickoffs under the lights always.
Now, I love the standardized times.
Is that to do with Apple, or is that just
basically if it's not the nationally televised game, which the Sunday matchups, as you can tell, are on Fox, on FS1.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the weekend, it has a chance for a Sunday, but the standardized games are Wednesdays, Saturdays, 7:30 and 10:30.
Okay.
Which I'm in favor of. Like, overall, I like those standardized times.
Yeah, I'm in on that too.
It keeps everything very, very on par. You keep it even. You're not having these weird staggered, game times and all that.
When to tune in for sure.
All about the consistency, guys. At least know what time YouTube show up.
People are forgetting that one of the big things with the Apple TV deal is there's going to be a roundabout, like Golasso type show.
Yes, I'm all for it.
For these, like, I think that's massive. I don't think people. I think it's understated how important that's going to be. Like, you can just turn that on and bounce from game to game to game like you do with the Champions League. I think that's great for this league.
That is
a bit of exposure of every team.
I hope they get the right person to host that type of show, though. I don't think I've seen anywhere who's going to be doing that kind of thing for Apple.
Chad Ochocinco.
They got Scott Hansen out of Red Zone. He's going to be doing Goal Zone.
It'll be Chad Ochocinco after all the coverage of.
Dude, good for Chad Ochocinco, though, man. He's always had a love for the sport, and he's, taking advantage right now.
One name that I would throw out there, I would love to see them Apple throw a bunch of money at Taylor Twellman, because ESPN just lost like all of MLS.
Wild.
And Twellman, I mean, he's kind of polarizing, but he could do a pretty good job with it, I think, with a good like person next to him, or maybe a supporting cast.
Absolutely. Justin, you might have some company with Mike in ATL. He's eyeing the ATL match. Recommend. Highly recommend.
That is a match that I had an absolute blast. And I have a good buddy of mine that I usually crash with, and I know the ones that went down there are going back. I have a few people I know that are going to be going down that missed last year's trip. It's fun, tailgating with the Terminus Legion and all their supporters groups. they're a good crew to hang out with, and the as Mike would say, the public transit situation over there. It's pretty easy to take MARTA into the city, and
Hell yeah, dude.
so I can't complain too much. So that's a trip I'm definitely looking forward to.
Or just grab a little Lime scooter and just scoot your way over to the Mercedes Benz. It's nice and easy. Mike, listen, we're really easy, okay? All we ask for is to pay for a flight and to pay for a room. We'll go down there. We'll have fun. We'll create a little shithousery down there, and we'll give people what they need. That's what we do. We just try to give people what they need, and we just have fun with it. So that's all you got.
All we're asking for is for a beer company to sponsor our trip down there, provide us with a whole bunch of beer, and we'll pass it around. And that's all we asked. It's too much to ask for. Looking at you, yards.
Soccer content creators are not tough, man. We're not NFL guys. We're not NBA guys. We're very easy. All right. Yeah. We're just here for soccer.
We can be easily bribed. I mean,
just get us there. That's really what it is. Yeah,
just literally, just get us there. We'll do this in the Gulch. We'll find a foldable table.
Listen, we gotta be careful with that. We got to become Arsenal fan TV,
Oh no!
Come on. We'll listen. We'll do a little Bills Mafia. I'll throw myself through a table. All right.
Must see content. Yo, Apple, you hear this?
Yeah. Apple. This. Yeah, Apple. Union content creators. Are you hearing this? I will throw myself through a table. All right.
We'll be part of the wraparound broadcast on Apple. Okay,
that's what we're all about here, guys. That is all we're about here. Well, save that energy, guys, because I do think we need to talk about this. I want to bring up the MLS new proposed playoff format here, and I'm pulling it up right now from our guy, Mr. Pablo Maurer. Oh, here we go. So obviously we've heard the rumblings as of late about a potential change up in our playoff format. And here I'm bringing up right now is the tweet from Pablo Maurer that kind of explains what's been going on. So it appears that the plan is in motion. He's been told that for a total overhaul of the MLS postseason, featuring a World Cup style competition, top 8 teams in each conference advance into a group stage, with the top 8 group stage finishers advancing into a single elimination bracket. So you get a little World Cup, you get extended playoffs, so a little bit more soccer, but we don't really have full details either. We just know that there is a plan to kind of change the format. Tim, for yourself, have you heard anything else? Do you have any thoughts on another playoff format, brother? Because this is honestly a little crazy.
I haven't heard anything other than what Pablo has put out here about this. And I remember his initial tweet that he quote tweeted there, the one in October about them possibly doing this, and I was like, no, just like everyone else was. I mean, if you look back at that, everyone was like, no, please don't. And then that was it. And then we were like, all right, maybe they'll listen. And then that was like, oh, MLS is probably going to move forward with this World Cup style playoff thing with a group stage. And I'm just still really confused by it. I get that, it would create more games and more money, which is what MLS really cares about. I just don't know how it's going to work, really. I still am confused of okay, so you get the 16 teams essentially into groups, but then Pablo was saying 8 group stage finishers. So I'm like, well, how many, what kind of group is that? Is it with, me trying to do math and I'm not good at math. Is it 2 or 3 team groups, and then you play 2 games, and if you win the group, let's say you're the best team in the East, like Union were, you get in a group with the second best team in the West and the 4th place team in the East, and you beat the 4th place team and you get a shitty loss to that other team in the West. And then if they do a little bit better than you in another game where they shithouse a draw, then they're on to an actual playoffs, which is single elimination, and you're out, and that's your whole season. I just don't. I think that's gonna actually hurt the better teams a whole lot more. And I know Justin has thoughts on this of like, it means the regular season is nothing. So I'm not going to talk on that too much because I know he's probably just going to go on a whole rant about that. But that's what it feels like. It makes it feel like the regular season won't be worth much at all.
Give us your thoughts, Justin.
Oh, God, where do I start with this bullshit? Don Garber, you fucking shitty greedy bastard. You
did it again, Garber.
You couldn't let a fucking good thing lie, could you? No, you had to go, oh, how do we make more fucking money out of a league? And oh, hey, there's gonna be like 50 plus games this year, and players are already exhausted. But hey, no, let's add 5 more games because hey, money. Like it at this point, I will say this, it makes a supporter shield worth fuck all going forward. If this is the best you get for finishing with no most points in the regular season, why the fuck would you even care about the regular season? We just got to finish top 8 in our conference and we'll get randomly thrown somewhere. Like,
yeah,
it's so fucking stupid. I really genuinely hope that the actual final, thing is like, if it's explained a little bit better, maybe I'll understand what the fuck this is about. But right now, as I've said with the Leagues Cup, this is nothing more than a fucking shitty cash grab, and it pisses me the fuck off. Like, this is straight up bullshit. The league has fucked with something that didn't need to be fucked. For the first time in years, you had a crazy amount of viewership. You had people tuning into the playoffs, tuning into the MLS Cup final, who are now watching the World Cup, who now want to watch next season. And it, like, how do we explain to people who are just turning into the sport? Oh yeah, there used to be single elimination. Now you have a group stage to even enter. Like, it makes no fucking sense, and it genuinely grinds my gears that the league couldn't get ahead of its own greed and ineptitude to just leave something the fuck alone. It really, really pisses me off. And I would say I'd expect better from Don Garber, but that fucking greedy bastard doesn't know shit about running a soccer league. He just gives a shit about making the league more money. And so, Don Garber, from the bottom of my heart, go fuck yourself.
It's very well put by Justin. I think the point for me is that we just came off of the best MLS Cup finals. And the playoffs were pretty entertaining as well, but the best MLS Cup finals. And yeah, you may get like another solid MLS Cup final in the future with this format, but it like feels like Squid Games. The difference is like, I want to watch Squid Games. I don't want to watch this type of iteration of playoffs. What we had was fine. And the other issue that we're not mentioning as well, gentlemen, is that this is now what, the 4th, 5th, 6th iteration of the playoffs. I understand with expansion, you're going to have, expanded playoffs. Like, the more you're putting teams in this league, you're going to expand it. That I can understand. But now you're tinkering with the format again. We had the Champions League style with the 2 aggregates. Everything, like literally anything you could think of, we have done as far as the MLS Cup playoffs. What we've had over the past 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever it was perfect. It not only sufficed American sports fans, but it also sufficed soccer fans because you got good soccer. Okay. And now we're changing this because what you guys are saying, because of money. And I get it. We have to make money in order to get this league to where we need it to be. They need to make the money. And I get that. But this, to me, financially, what, you make a couple extra dollars because you get a little extra soccer, but what happens to the quality? People are going to turn away from it. You're not the Premier League. The Premier League can get away with some shit like this, not you. And I just think that they are just thinking way too far off, and they're just not simplifying things. The cliche, why fix something that's not broken? And that's really what is going on here. Ryan, Don DeMarco. It just honestly, It's just truly terrible, man.
Like,
Really terrible.
like I think, like to your point there, it's like saying, okay, so the seventh place team last year in the East was Orlando, and the seventh place team last year in the West was RSL. And let's say that they randomly somehow got put in the same freaking group, and then we had to see, the two last best playoff teams play against each other in a playoff. Who's going to tune in on a random, Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, because they never go against college football. So it'll be on a Sunday afternoon at like 1:00. Like you might get people to tune in for a single elimination, but a group stage game against those types of teams that just barely made the threshold, you're not going to care, because the teams might not even care either, because if it's a group stage, a draw could be very freaking valuable to a lot of teams. So you could see teams literally just say, all right, we're going to sit back like you see in playoffs anyways, because they don't want to get got. And you could just see teams parking the bus for more than one game.
Draw your way to the group stage, man.
For real, though. And then you have to determine who gets the home games in group stage games, which doesn't make any sense because it's never supposed to be that way, which is why it's like that. It's just all backwards.
Nothing is official, but I mean, listen, Pablo's a pretty credible source. We would agree, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I mean, it does seem like it's kind of leaning towards that this is what's going to be the playoff format, and I don't care for it. You guys don't care for it. I'm sure most people listening don't care for it either. And it's weird because I do feel like for the most part, the MLS, when things aren't agreed upon unanimously, that they steer away from it. But this case, the Greens just speaking too loud right now for them. So it looks like this is what we're probably going to be heading towards, gentlemen. So
I mean, we'll see. It might be good, but you also
more
get
soccer.
You also get the chance of seeing two teams that are trying to shithouse a draw against each other just to make it out of a group stage when they finished 8th place in either conference. Like, come on now. Like, they don't
Cincinnati
do a playoff game anyways. If you finish 8th, you shouldn't be in the playoffs. Like that
right.
This is a whole nother conversation. But
Tim, if that's the case, Cincinnati 2020 would have won the MLS Cup.
Yeah. Don't even. Oh man,
all those draws that you would get, it's crazy. Gentlemen, tomorrow I know you're so psyched. You're ready for 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon for MLS Super Draft. You ready for the #1 overall pick, guys? I really don't even know who's the top prospect.
I don't know any prospects. None.
Someone said to me, they're like, oh yeah, the Union are gonna. Oh yeah, it was Steve in our group chat. It was like, oh yeah, they're gonna draft someone this year. I'm like, Steve, what in the several years of Ernst Tanner makes you think that they're gonna give two shits about the draft when they have so many prospects coming through?
That are better.
A few of which have already, a couple, one of which Paxton's already left, and you have several more coming up through the pipeline. I genuinely, yeah. Who am I talking to? Shay? I don't have a Mel Kiper big board. Like, what kind of person do you think I am?
What if the MLS just hired like Mel Kiper just to bring some like excitement towards the MLS?
Listen, I'm tactics, not prospects. All right.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, back at looking back, like 2014, 2015, 2016, I looked forward to the draft. Like, because the Union were always near the top pick. Like, you could always kind of look into like, okay, like who are like the best college players coming out that could fill out the roster. But that was before all the homegrown expansion and that kind of thing. So like I mean, Andre Blake was a draft pick. Jack Elliott, a few other guys there.
Gaddis.
Jack Elliott was the last draft pick.
Yeah, it's just
true.
That's crazy. Who was?
I mean, Jack Elliott's the last useful one. I mean,
last useful one. I thought you meant like last draft. Okay.
I mean, if I remember correctly, there was maybe one after that. I think that was 2018 might have been the last.
Real quick, Tim, let me ask you. So, time of the MLS Super Draft, did you ever look at a prospect we drafted and think like this kid's going to be something good for us? Besides, obviously, Andre Blake.
I mean, Andre Blake though was still a surprise because they took a goalkeeper number
Okay.
one, and
True.
they had Zach McMath, and then they even before that, I believe it was like they wanted to get Rais and Boley, but that was before that whole debacle.
Well, it was, and the perceived thing was that they were going to draft Steve Burn. They were going to draft Steve Birnbaum.
Yeah,
like that was when I was like, oh, they traded for number one. I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to draft a center back. Like we need center back help, and we drafted Andre Blake. And my first thought was another fucking goalie. Like that was the what the hell?
I remember that year, and then the year where the Union went out and they got Josh Yarrow, Keegan Rosenberry, and Fabian Herbers all in early draft picks because
Josh Yarrow and Herbers were the same draft, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They were all in the first round. I remember Ernie Stewart had a bunch of draft picks that year, and he wanted to get some guys he thought would be studs. Josh Yarrow played a little bit. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't the best, obviously, which is why he's not here. But he's with St. Louis. I believe he was with St. Louis. He was with their second team, but he was the captain of their second team. Keegan Rosenberry's still kicking it around over in Colorado and looked pretty decent last year.
Which I would love.
Herbers has been pretty good for Chicago. So I mean, that was a good year. I can't remember which year that was. It was either 2016 or 2017, something like that. But that was the last year where I can remember looking at different prospects and being like, oh, I wish they would have gotten someone instead of Josh Yarrow. Or at the time I thought, someone instead of Keegan Rosenberry, even though Rosenberry went on to be pretty good for the Union. But no.
Well, the fact that we had to draft Keegan.
Oh yeah, instead of a homegrown, I forgot about that.
That's so
Peter Vernice, that fuckhead, screwing over Delran guys, screwing over the Union for bullshit the claim against the homegrown rights.
I mean, for context, that was the same year that Jack Harrison was the number one overall pick. I remember this because he went to Chicago, but then New York City was like, no, he's a homegrown, and it was like, what are you talking about? He's from England, but somehow New York City got him. It doesn't really matter, and now he's from Man City, or
yeah, he's England, Brooklyn, man.
Yeah, now he made his jump back to the Premier League and all that. But,
yeah, he's from Manchester, the Bronx, right?
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. All right, so guys, what do you think is next year in the offseason? You think kit release, player sign? What do you think?
We need some players. That would be nice.
We need some depth.
I mean, you still need a center back.
You still need an attacker.
You need a striker. I'm sorry. You need a third string striker. I don't know if Riasco is going to be the guy from Union 2.
And I think Quinn is going to get time in the midfield.
I can't understand where the team wants to play Quinn Sullivan. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, he's a winger. He could be the fourth. He could be if that third striker.
Yeah.
If they want to rotate. There is one player off the list, someone I would have loved a few years back, Tesho.
Oh, yeah, he just retired, right?
Yeah, Tesho has hung up the boots.
Dude, how old was he? Or is he, I should say?
He's in his mid-30s. He's a well-earned career with FC Dallas and Orlando. Class act on and off the field. Shame, I would have actually really loved to see him in Union colors, but I will still say the player in this pool, as far as I can tell, that hasn't signed a deal, Ola Kamara, fits the Union system exactly.
It's your boy.
You've said this before.
I've said this before because he fits the system exactly, and he's a free agent, which means Ernst can work his magic and whatever salary he wants. But I think you can get go overseas and get a early 20s, early mid-20s center back like you did with a Glesnes. Yeah. Have that as a third string and have a Stewart type center back that can fill in when you need them.
Justin's got the PowerPoint ready for Ernst Tanner to pitch Ole Kamara.
Here's the top 5 center backs from each of the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Show why we need more Scandinavians in our defense.
We need Scandinavians and a bunch of Americans who aren't doing well at their current clubs or something like that.
Which
It'll be interesting to see though, because we're all still assuming that Kai Wagner is not coming back, but we haven't heard that. So it's like, what is
No,
actually
nothing,
going on?
dude.
Like, what's actually going on with that? Like, are we
and
gonna
there's
revisit
that
the
there's
left
that
back?
young
Yeah,
young
that kid.
American that
Yeah.
they keep talking about.
Yeah, there's
Christian Cassis.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing over
mispronouncing
in Belgium, I think.
He's another one of those I can play left back and the 6 and the 8, which is just what the Union look for in all their players.
So another Leon Flock? Is that
basically, yeah. Yeah.
Matt Real.
Like, we're just gonna stockpile Leon Flocks until we're the starting Leons.
I'd be fine with
still-
that. As
still
long
got
as I
some
can
time.
score.
The Philadelphia Flocks. Philadelphia Flock FC.
It should be fun. Should be fun. Gentlemen, that's going to do it for another episode of Dupe by the River. Guys, thank you so much for tuning on into this episode. Gentlemen, hopefully we'll be back next week to close down the year. Another year of another year of Union Soccer, Dupe by the River. So
Crazy.
should be a fun one next week. So we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning on into this episode of Dupe by the River. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more, especially for all of your live viewings of Dupe by the River here on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to us wherever you stream podcasts. We're available on Apple, Google, and Spotify under Dupe by the River Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Tim Lovinguth. That is Justin North Pole Accountant Friedberg. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to Dupe on.